The Life of St. Anthony, Part 8. Thus tightening his hold upon himself, Anthony departed to the tombs, which happened to be at a distance from the village, and having bid one of his acquaintances to bring him bread at intervals of many days, he entered one of the tombs, and the other, having shut the door on him, he remained within alone. And when the enemy could not endure it, but was even fearful that in a short time Anthony would fill the desert with the discipline, coming one night with a multitude of demons, he so cut him with stripes that he lay on the ground speechless from the excessive pain. For he affirmed that the torture had been so excessive that no blows inflicted by a man could ever have caused him such torment. But by the providence of God, for the Lord never overlooks them that hope in him, the next day his acquaintance came bringing him the loaves. And having opened the door, and seeing him lying on the ground as though dead, he lifted him up, and carried him to the church in the village, and laid him upon the ground. And many of his kinsfolk and the villagers sat around Anthony as round a corpse. But about midnight he came to himself and arose. And when he saw them all asleep, and his comrade alone watching, he motioned with his hand for him to approach, and asked him to carry him again to the tombs, without waking anybody. The Life of St. Anthony, Part 9. He was carried therefore by the man, and as he was wont, when the door was shut, he was within alone. And he could not stand up on account of the blows, but he prayed as he lay. And after he had prayed, he said with a shout, Here am I, Anthony. I flee not from your stripes, for even if you inflict more, nothing shall separate me from the love of Christ. And then he sang, Though a camp be set against me, my heart shall not be afraid. These were the thoughts and words of this ascetic. But the enemy, who hates good, marveling that after the blows he dared to return, called together his hounds and burst forth. Ye see, said he, that neither by the spirit of lust, nor by blows did we stay the man, but that he braves us. Let us attack him in another fashion. But changes of form for evil are easy for the devil. So in the night they made such a din that the whole of that place seemed to be shaken by an earthquake, and the demons, as if breaking the four walls of the dwelling, seemed to enter through them, coming in the likeness of beasts and creeping things. And the place was on a sudden filled with forms of lions, bears, leopards, bulls, serpents, asps, scorpions, and wolves, and each of them was moving according to his nature. The lion was roaring, wishing to attack, the bull seeming to toss with its horns, the serpent writhing but unable to approach, and the wolf as it rushed on was restrained. Altogether the noises of the apparitions, with their angry ragings, were dreadful. But Anthony, stricken and goaded by them, felt bodily pains severer still. He lay watching, however, with unshaken soul, groaning from bodily anguish, but his mind was clear, and as in mockery he said, If there had been any power in you, it would have sufficed had one of you come, but since the Lord hath made you weak, you attempt to terrify me by numbers, and a proof of your weakness is that you take the shapes of brute beasts. And again with boldness he said, If you are able, and have received power against me, delay not to attack. But if you are unable, why trouble me in vain? For faith in our Lord is a seal and a wall of safety to us. So after many attempts they gnashed their teeth upon him, because they were mocking themselves rather than him. Life of St. Anthony, Part 10. Nor was the Lord then forgetful of Anthony's wrestling, but was at hand to help him. So looking up, he saw the roof as it were opened, and a ray of light descending to him. The demon suddenly vanished, the pain of his body straightway ceased, and the building was again whole. But Anthony, feeling the help, and getting his breath again, and being freed from pain, besought the vision which had appeared to him, saying, Where wert thou? Why didst thou not appear at the beginning to make my pains to cease? And a voice came to him, Anthony, I was here, but I waited to see thy fight. Wherefore, since thou hast endured, and hast not been worsted, I will ever be a succor to thee, and will make thy name known everywhere. Having heard this, Anthony arose and prayed, and received such strength that he perceived that he had more power in his body than formerly, and he was then about 35 years old.
If you are enjoying this series, please consider making a donation to the St. John of Damascus Orthodox Educational Initiative. We are asking the faithful to support our scholarship fund, which will help ensure that an education based on the Orthodox Christian faith and following the classical model is available to all interested families of our eparchy and other like-minded Orthodox Christians, regardless of their financial circumstances. We are also asking for donations to help us make renovations and improvements to our new physical headquarters, located on the property of the Holy Ascension Parish in Bearsville, New York. Please see the link in the description of this video to learn how you can donate and support the future of our church, that is, the youth of our church. God bless you. Through the prayers of St. John of Damascus.